Okay, mic test 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Okay, second row, I'm basically just gonna... This is one of the two operations I had in mind. The second one I cannot actually kind of explain over recording, or I kinda can, but it's a lot more difficult. I'd rather do it in a call. This one, however, I can do in the thingy, because it's, well, it's easier, so to speak. So this here is essentially, I guess, a drawing of that village, the city, right? This is the jail. Let me just put my cursor on red so it's easier to see. This is the jail. This is that, like, kind of like diner. Same with here, and this here is the capture point. I suppose it would be a lot smaller in comparison to everything else, but it is what it is. This here is the road. Wheat fields. Around here would be the factory, and this is that, like, fence. What you call it? Not it, wired fence, right? It's that wired fence. And this is that, like, wall that I guess you could call it quote-unquote natural wall. It's basically just a big wall with some trees and bushes somewhere around here. Point is, the operation plan would be that here, where there's an entrance to the jail over here, you would put 2 layers of sandbags on it. By 2 layers I mean you would put sandbag on top of a sandbag, take a few step backs and repeat the process so that people couldn't get in, and even if they did break through the first barricade or whatever, they would need a lot more time to get through the second part of it. I suppose it's possible to put maybe even 3 up, right? Maybe 4, that doesn't matter. Right. Point is, let me just. Alright, this ought to do perfect. So I'm thinking basically we would have a guy. This is also like that little store. These here are the This is a door. These are like windows. These are also windows that are marked blue. This is the door. This is the door as well, and there are a few windows on the sides. These here are also windows, but like you would need to put down sand to get on top of it to see out of jail. So like if you wanted to see here, you would need something to climb on. Whereas to see out of here, you don't need to climb on anything. It's a lot easier, so to speak, because there are actual windows and door, right? This is the door, the only entrance available if you block this off, unless they blow it up, I suppose. And then this is the window. You have a pretty thick counter here that you can use as cover, but then again, we're, 65th, we can always just build bloody cover, but hey, that's up to you, mate. But yeah, basically I'm thinking we would have a guy positioned in here somewhere. I'm thinking possibly here, right? He would obviously overlook this, including the factory, because this is basically like that entrance to the factory. They pick here a lot. You would have the second guy here, here, or here, and he would do the same exact thing here, but he would also look across here. So what would happen is you would have an X, so that this thing would cover this part, and this guy here would cover this part, this area, right? Then you would have one guy. Let me just put a green dot so I don't come back to it on accident. So somewhere around here, we would have a guy. I'd say build an extra some sandbags or bunker, either like this or this, your standard ones, and have him over here, right? This is obviously going to prevent any flankings from right over here. So if they try to do this, well, this guy not only can he suppress them from cover or even kill them, he can also alert all the others that is going to happen. So if we have someone who's not doing anything, such as this guy for an example, he can run out, kill him, go back to post. And then we would have one guy or two guys over here, and again they would board this up. They would use cover, because cover, when you crouch, the windows are pretty low, so when you crouch you can still kinda hit the head, right? So I'm thinking board the shit out of it up. Use some of those covers, be crafty so you do have some shooting holes, right? Basically. And have one guy here, one guy in this building, two guys, one at the minimum, but possibly two guys, depending how many we have in the actual operation, or should I say occupation. Then you have, I forgot to actually put that in, I'm so sorry. Then you have like this wall, and then you have like this building with like a garage and whatnot. So I do suppose we have two options to deal with this. We could either completely, and I mean like absolutely completely block this off, right, with sandbags and shit, but not only would that be very not cost efficient, it would also mean they could still come from over here, even though a lot of times they don't come from over here. But regardless, we would have, I say, one guy overlooking over here, god damn it, every goddamn time, over here, with, and you know what, now that I think about it, I have a better solution. I'm sorry, that was originally the plan, but now I just came up with a better one, so to speak. Instead of here, he would be like here, so this guy, if there's a guy here, he cannot directly shoot him, or over here, right, like, because there's basically a wall over here pretty much, so he could be like here. And yeah, that's number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, or number 5. Sorry, number 5. If we were to receive any extra men, I'd say we could station one here, again with fortifications, this time in a V. Okay, it's pretty important that it's a V, and that's because he would have a window here, and he would have a window here. That means if he needs to suppress this side, he can. And if there's enemy over here, if all these guys are dead for some reason, and they shouldn't be, let's be honest, then he can still provide support, at least, while he is covered. Now, yes, on the drawing, technically you could shoot from one window to the other, but if you were to put this to practice, you would do it in a way that you couldn't. The window would, for an example, be over here, or something like that. And you get the picture. Alright, so that's one extra guy, or maybe one, normal guy. That would also be awesome if we could have extra guys. Obviously, I suggest putting them over here, maybe have one guy over here in this area, so if these fuckers are actually crazy enough to break through this, which I doubt it, but you never know, you can never be too safe, so if they do break through it, you could have one guy here, maybe have one guy on like sandbags overlooking from this window and just pressing the shit out of him. And since he does have materials, he can move from cell to cell, right, and suppress from different windows, so he's not exposed in one area too long. And if we have extra guys after all of that, then we could, move and secure through factory, basically, right? So take factory with extra guys, maybe. And I mean, hell, if we have men after that, and by the way, this is a stretch, this is just for shits and giggles, we could have people in the wheat field ready to flank or something, purely for shits and giggles, because there's no way in hell. Like, I'm sorry, the server is is active enough for me to say there's no way in hell for us to have this much manpower. However, if we do have this much manpower, we could secure the wheat fields, we could secure the barn, stuff like that. Alright. Oh, I did forget to mention, I suppose this building would be pretty decent if we had a sniper. If we didn't have a sniper, this position is 10 times better. This position is good only if they manage to kill this guy and like all these guys, so they can suppress. But I feel like they can do a much better job from this building right here. So this building is okay if we were to have one guy not from our battalion who's like a sniper or something along those lines, or if, I don't know, we're running spare manpower, something like that. Other than that, I don't see much need to post someone over here or even over here, unless, yeah, no, never mind, there's just, I don't see a need. Okay, that's my plan. Feel free to ask me any questions. I'm gonna upload it to YouTube now, cause I'm a fucking YouTuber, boy.